You're listening to the Vacation Rental Key with T&T, the podcast for vacation rental managers by vacation rental managers. I'm Tim Cafferty, and I manage two companies, one in Virginia and one in North Carolina. And I'm one of the two T's.
And I'm the other T, Tiffany Edwards, born and raised in the vacation rental business. I help manage our family businesses from Key West all the way to Kauai.
In the next 30 minutes, we're going to give you our keys to success in the vacation rental business. Welcome back to the Vacation Rental Key Podcast, the show where we unlock the secrets to highly profitable property management businesses. I'm one of your hosts, Tim, and today we're talking about add-ons because let's be honest, in this business, basic just doesn't cut it anymore, Tiffany. We're diving into the genius extras that make your guests feel like royalty and make your owners feel like they're printing money. From upgraded linen packages that actually stay in the property to premium upgrades owners didn't know they needed, we're breaking down how to turn simple perks into serious revenue. Turn up the volume, grab your notepad, and let's unlock some profit. What do you say?
I love any podcast or any session that we do about how to generate more money. So I'm really excited to dive into this.
We've got several points for you on add-on services for the guest side. And as time permits, we might talk about some owner stuff too. But let's get right into it. Everybody's stressed. Season is upon us for those in the beach area. And we're talking about extra work? Well, not necessarily, right?
I think it's really important because everyone thinks that they should do some add-ons, and you should. And we're going to talk about the ones that you absolutely must do. But I think that there should always be a checkpoint of add-ons should make sure that they have a high significant revenue generator, but little operational costs. And so you really need to evaluate what your infrastructure is and be able to execute on these add-ons, scale them as much as you can, but not incur so much operational or admin costs associated to it.
Yeah, and these are keys that are not calling for a concierge department either, are they?
No, not at all. This is something that your team should be able to do, something that you can add on, and you really want to keep this small, intentional, and something that is manageable on a scale.
And let's make sure we differentiate. We're not talking about fees, which are more automatic for use. These are optional services or experiences the guests can opt into, and it should be an important component of your business.
And as you take on these add-ons, you really need to think about your marketing strategy. What will your guests, and later we can talk about potentially owners, but what would they want to use? What works for your area? It's very area specific. It's very feeder market specific. So you need to really think about that as well.
Yeah. So there are some musts right off the bat that I'm sure some of our listeners are ahead of us. Slow down out there. We're going to get there. But how about early check-in and late checkout? That's a no-brainer, right? That's just a scheduling issue, I think.
Yeah, I would be surprised because I think our listeners are very professional. They already do this, but if you're not, you need to make sure that you're doing the early check-in and late checkout, making sure that you have a standardized charge for that. You also market it as well. Know when you're contacting your guests or when you have that availability, or even if you have someone that has some time that can call and maybe make those calls or send those automated texts and say, you have an opportunity for a late checkout. Would you like to do that for this fee?
That's excellent. Another thing I will caution on this, it's easy to think about some of these things and like early check-in, hey, we'll just take it. And if we don't get it, we can refund it back to the guest. I would caution that because your brand can take a hit if you don't execute this stuff really well. So in terms of early check-in, we limit the number that we will do on any given week. And there are some houses that are just simply off the plate. We can't get the house ready in time to our standards. So that is a groaner sometimes for those looking at potential revenue because the big ones are the ones people want to get in early. But I would just caution to make sure that you have a strategy to execute early check-in or late check-out so that the guest is not disappointed and potentially give you a bad review.
That's a really good point because we try to segregate some of those and obviously some of our smaller condos, but also all of our cleaning or contract. But a lot of them have been with us for years and years and years. So we know that they're going to clean very quickly, efficiently. It's going to be beautiful. So we can target those as some of our early check ins. And, one other thing with that, Tim, too, is you have to make sure that you can utilize either your property management system or we've talked about this so many times, but Breezeway for us to tag and automate these workflows. Because the more that you can tag and automate these workflows, the better it will be to deliver for these guests.
Yeah, the worst part is the housekeeper not knowing there's a 1 p.m. check-in and they save it till last on their list of 3 houses they had to do. Make sure you tag that. And if you use systems like Breezeway properly, you can even know when the guest checks out early, send the crew there first. Hey, this one's already out. Go get this one done. Maybe give them an extra few shekels to get that done as well. Here's one that I've not executed on really well, but I know it's out there. The whole mid-stay clean and asking guests, can we come in and freshen up? How do you do with that?
That's a really good one. In terms of all of our marketplaces, we utilize this the most in California. Most of our guests expect that. I think they're coming more so from the hotel world or from a higher luxury, but we're seeing it more and more. And because we've been able to automate some of these text messages, we've offered it a lot more in Florida as well. And we see that people want it, one, for the refresh, again, for some of our larger homes, but then also for towels. So they want towels and sheets because they've been at the beach or they've had sunblock or whatever it may be. So we've seen an increase in this. And I do think that it is a consumer trend that we're going to continue to see. But you need to automate and you need to also understand whether you have contract cleaners or in-house cleaners, how you can execute. And even with clean linens, if you're at the peak and you're offering these mid-stay cleans, how organized is your laundry? Can you get some of these items? Geographically, can you offer that? All of that goes into play. But mid-stay cleanings, if you're not doing it, you need to look at it operationally and add it to your portfolio.
You can use your operational software as you contact the guests to offer that early in their stay as well. And that can be low-hanging fruit, as we like to say. Another one is those arrival bennies. If you know there's a celebration and you have a celebration basket, I know you do a really good job with wine and snacks and maybe breakfast spreads, I've heard you say before. How do you work that?
So we love celebration baskets, and I think they're really easy to do. We have someone who sits at the front desk and does a fantastic job. We have storage capability where we can buy a lot of things in bulk, specifically in California. Well, actually, California and Florida, we've worked with different vineyards in one of our states to have our label placed on a wine and another one to have a very, very, very nice wholesale price. So we can put these packages together. However, we advertise and market what the specific package is. So we control what those items are. So we can control costs, we can tag it, we can notify. So when there is a clean, inspectors go in and put something there. And then we're also keeping it pretty centralized to what the celebration is. So we can put those items in those baskets. That's really good. Your inspector's going there anyways, and it makes the guests feel really good to have that when they welcome in. And it's not very expensive, but to me, it's more of training your reservationists or having some specific verbiage on the front end of saying, is this a celebration? What other items can we add in for you?
Hmm. I think it's a very poorly kept secret that Deb and I are cruisers, not on a Harley. No, like on the sea, high end,
Just getting
lux.
images of you with a jacket, maybe a little sidecar with the dogs.
Maybe AI can help us with that.
Yeah.
But we just booked a cruise and the options, oh my goodness. And of course, I'm already in the buying mode. I'm online. We're doing the spa reservations. I'm doing the upgraded dining. Hey, we're going to the Italian place on that Tuesday. And chocolates, cheese boards. They do such a good job at that. It's worth booking a cruise just to see how they do it because they really have this down pat. So excellent stuff there. And again, if you can put it in the face of the guest when they're already in that buying mode, maybe an add-on if you do a lot of online bookings, just add it in there and make them turn it down. no, I don't want this, or at least puts the seed in their mind. Maybe later they'll come back and do that. Another one
Yeah.
is the rental equipment. You can either do it yourself and take on that liability, or we're going to talk about partnering with vendors. I've partnered with a vendor that does bikes and cornhole boards and baby equipment and all that stuff. And I may get a little percentage of that. But again, it's a need that the guest has, and we can help fulfill it pretty easily.
We've talked about some of these other ones that have all been internal, right? So, not necessarily needing a vendor, but if there are some areas within your business that you're seeing an uptick of requests from your guests. So, maybe that is the baby equipment, or we do have in one of our motels, we do a lot of the bikes there. And so they sign off on some liability and that, but we're able to keep all those bikes in one central area and then they can rent those out. So, that's really important for us. You need to understand what your guests' needs are, and again, storage capability, but they do want some of those extra items. We also have used from that bike perspective. This is in specific locations, but where traffic is so bad and it's more of a walk to community, having some of those bike add-ons as opposed to the golf carts, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but
Okay.
those are a little bit easier.
And one other internal one, particularly if you clean and maintain your own pools, is charging for that pool heat. This time of year, particularly, we're in June and some of us are sweating it out, but the water temperature's still cold out there in the ocean. A nice warm pool would be great. And we'll only charge you this amount, Mr. Guest.
It's very easy that your internal team could just go turn on, and then making sure, again, I can't say it enough, those workflows, those automations, those notes to remember to turn it back off later on. But those are very easy for you to put in for an add-on.
I am not attuned to the ski community, but I know there's a lot of concierge type thing as we kind of transition into working with those vendors. I already mentioned to sort of bridge the gap there that I have a vendor for my rental equipment, but that whole ski concierge thing, that's huge business. Most of the operators are already on top of that, but that's an opportunity as well.
That's something where I would personally want to work with a vendor, because to me, that's high revenue, low operational burden. So I do an add on. I get a percentage of that. I get potentially a fee because I'm marketing it to a specific vendor or I have some type of agreement. But for those ski destinations, I don't know if you've ever experienced it, but I've come in late and had them come in and get fitted for everything. There is nothing greater in this world, especially if you have children. I will add it on all day long. So those are really interesting to include and provides more of that luxurious service with a simple add-on cost, right?
Yeah. Another one I like, speaking of ski resorts, I had the ability to take my family on a trip around the holidays, and one of the options was holiday decor. I never thought of that, but you have it on your list as an opportunity for us as well.
We do a lot of holiday decor, especially around the Christmas time. Now, this, depending on different businesses, whether we have something internal or not, most of our companies, we work with someone locally in the area. But Thanksgiving and Christmas, we started a couple years ago getting so many requests that people would come down. And now we're seeing even more people come down for Christmas and they want just some type of tree, some type of garland, something that gives you a little nod to Christmas, some type of little lights. And so we do add those on as a package, and it's been extremely successful. And the other part is that we get great reviews from it. So they're paying for it. We're working with someone locally who has the time and the expertise to decorate. We're getting paid for part of it, but the guest experience speaks to us, not specifically the vendor. So overall, it's a big win.
You mentioned packages. We're going to touch on that in a moment. But one of the ones we didn't mention on this that I see on your list is laundry services. What do you mean by that? How can we profit from laundry services?
And some of our locations have commercial laundries. So we have the capability of washing things for guests. It's not something we advertise all of the time, but in some of our higher end homes, we do offer some of those add-ons for them. And for some of our longer stays, some of them have washers and dryers, but still they don't want to do it while they're on their vacation. So can also offer that as an add-on depending on what your size and what your laundry capability is.
Well, I hope you guys have already written down some things, and we're just getting started. We got some more stuff here. We alluded to packages, and I love bundling stuff. And we've talked before in our podcasts about reaching out and being a big player in your community and making sure people know to refer you and you to refer them. And maybe there's an opportunity you can get together and do a bundle of things. Like, for instance, here on the Outer Banks, we have a group called Chefs on Call. Boy, I'll wear that guy out. Love that whole idea of a private chef experience, and people eat that stuff up.
I think a lot of our listeners have already an idea on this, but experience is so important. And I think in a lot of our vacation rentals, if you're looking at homes, true homes that have 4+ bedrooms or multi-generational trips, you need to be able to offer a contact for a private chef. One, because it is very difficult and growing even more difficult to get into restaurants with large groups. And two, it's actually more cost efficient sometimes to have a chef come in and cook a celebratory dinner than to go out and add on more and more for your entire party. So we absolutely, doesn't even matter the economic demographic, or get requests for chefs all of the time. We personally like to bundle this, market it as an add-on so we can manage the reservations, we can manage some of the contacts. But it is, if you do not have a relationship with a chef group, you need to make sure that you have one today, the second you end this podcast.
I remember my late great friend Stuart Couch had a wonderful office on Hatteras Island. And when he built it, he built a kitchen on the top level of the property. And I was like, why are you doing that? He goes, well, I have a secret weapon. One of his sales agents happened to be a chef, the great Bob Barris, I'll remember him. And he used to do cooking demonstrations on Tuesday nights during the stay. And Stuart would sell tickets to the thing. And people would come in and learn how to cook local seafood and how to scale a fish or whatever the case might be. It was a huge success. I don't know that everybody has an office like that. But again, those experiences, I still remember it, and I wasn't even one of his guests. So there's a lot of opportunities there. Another one, and you have a number of fly-to destinations. How about simple transportation from the airport?
Making sure that you know someone, so multiple chefs. I said one, multiple chefs,
Multiple,
'cause
yeah.
they get busy. And then also transportation services is so key. Me, I'm on the road all of the time, getting in at 11 o'clock at night. A lot of these people are not renting cars. Offer the transportation, the airport shuttles, again, at the beginning of that reservation time frame. Do you know what time you'll be getting in? Talking through that check-in process. Oh, you're coming from a long way. Make sure that if you can do the add-on for transportation, offer it, because you can just get in touch with that transportation company and it's additional revenue in your pocket.
And talking to you people in the ski resorts, you already got those shuttles that you own that you're doing already back and forth. That could easily be an extension if you're not already doing that. But you could also offer tours. That's another great one. People want to see the area. They want to be a local, but how do you do that? Well, we'll take you on a tour or even tickets to local events. That could be an opportunity as well.
And local events, I think, are really important. We've tried to look at this a lot recently in the shoulder season. So a lot of our markets will do events in the shoulder season, and we try to package weekends up and highlight and market that and try to really, a lot of them we sponsor. So trying to utilize those relationships, because it does help us in those shoulder seasons.
There are some things, though, you don't want to get into. And you've listed two really good ones here on our little cheat sheet. Talk to us about what we need to stay away from.
All right. For the markets, this isn't necessarily the ski markets, but golf carts. I do not want to be involved with owning and operating golf carts. And Ben could tell you some of his own horror stories because he's had to deal with that, my husband.
Uh-huh.
But there's just so much service and work. The best golf cart situation we ever had was a community that we were involved with in a vacation rental company a couple years ago. And we exclusively worked with one golf cart company. They provided all of our golf carts for the entire resort. So then they took all of the additional reservations. They dropped off the golf carts. They picked up the golf carts. They handled the maintenance. But we had an associated fee that we charged from that golf cart company. They also held all of the liability. I used to live in a resort community. I can't tell you how many times I've seen golf carts stranded. Golf carts ran into trees
Oh
because
my.
people believe that you can't get a DUI on a golf cart.
Oh,
So we've seen it all. And I will tell you, I shouldn't say, I cannot tell you how many team members will get in a meeting and talk about add-ons. And they're like, let's start a golf cart business. We
oh
should
yeah.
do this. And I just turn around and say, okay, well, put it together a business plan for me on that. But even asking our owners and having the owners, a lot of them want a golf cart themselves. If you can work with a golf cart company, try and do that.
I'm not sure there's an insurance that would cover you on that. At least one that you don't want to purchase because of the cost. So
Yeah.
very good ones. As we talk about these add-ons, the successes really go into the opt-in, not the opt-out, right?
Absolutely. You want to create a curated experience, but that it's very particular to that guest. So when I think of add ons, I think that they are so beneficial for us from a revenue perspective. I'm looking at it as low operational costs, high revenue opportunity for you. But also, like, even thinking back to that airport, right? Your first experience then for them coming into the area, someone picking you up in a car and driving you straight to your property. How much better is that than them trying to like find an Uber late at night and pack everything up? So, really think of these add ons as generating better experiences, better branding for you, but that you don't have to put more people on top of this process.
Yep. Forgot to mention one that probably should stay away from. Grocery delivery, that's a non-starter, right?
Oh my gosh. Have you ever been asked for that? I feel like people
Yeah.
have started asking more and more. And here's shipped, Uber Eats, whatever grocery stores deliver. I'm like, here, get grocery stores deliver, have it done between these times. These are my
Yes.
suggestions. No, I'm not collecting any groceries and putting them in the home. And we like to stay on the side of take several hours to clean out that fridge. And we're very particular at how clean and high standards. So we're not running around putting your groceries in there either.
Okay. So as we talk about successes of add-ons, we'll make sure you don't let your team talk you into creating a service business that you don't intend,
No
and
golf
keep it
carts.
no golf carts, no groceries, right? And keep it smaller, focused, those add-ons, and then base it on the needs of your guests, the need in the area, what you can do, right? So that's the key to success there. So let's move on. We got time here to talk about some owner add-ons. Number 1 on the list here. I love this. Permitting and licensing. We're all facing it.
Oh, you know.
You're all
This
about
gets
this.
me so excited and up in the morning. I handle all of our permits and licensing. I am the one who reads all of the ordinances and makes friends with all the code compliance directors. So I love this as an add-on. We're really particular and we try to keep all of our rental management agreements that the liability and the licensing still fall on the owner. And I think it's really important for you to have that. So then we can offer it as a service. And then that's an add-on fee because it shouldn't just be something that they expect. It's outside of our management.
Love that. It's needed. It's a mutual benefit because you need to make sure it's done and done properly. So might as well take responsibility for it. Another one
Absolutely.
that is a mutual benefit and owners really like this, some sort of a maintenance plan. Maybe it's an annual plan and you give them a discounted hourly rate. Maybe you throw in some things like air filter changes or light bulb changes or battery changes or whatever. You can really do a great job on this. And the owner, they worship you. They're like, oh man, you can do that for me? That's amazing.
Not even, I think, even extends into weatherization, hurricane prep, additional deep cleaning. So anything that would be outside what your normal management is. It's an opportunity for the owner to have a good experience. It's a revenue generator for you, but also it keeps up the property and it protects the asset.
I've noted one recently, just the last couple of years, it's really gaining momentum. It started with specific communities, subdivisions, if you will, who have their restrictive covenants, and it's
Mm.
spread now into some towns, and that is trash can rollback. You get those containers that go out to the road, and they need to be out there Tuesday, but don't do it before 5, and then they need to be back in the house by 8 o'clock the next morning, and if you don't do this, I'm gonna fine the owner. Now, that's not part of my management agreement, but it can be a huge win, and your guys are going by there, or maybe you dedicate somebody to the job. It can be a great add-on for your owners.
That's so smart, Tim. And actually, it makes me even think about when you bring something on, getting their HOA rules so that if there are opportunities like that, that you can go ahead and manage. And so you're not having to go do it as a fine or as a complaint. You can assess with the owner and offer the services as an add on. That's a great one.
Yeah. We already mentioned the whole beach chairs or ski concierge, all those you can tie it in and make it the idea of the owner. Again, also back to the delivery of the gifts. You can have your owners buy into that program, maybe make a little tent card. This charcuterie tray was brought to you by the property owner, and thanks for your staying at this property. But a good one I thought, and it fits right into my program now, is those additional laundry services you can do. Our quote, dirty little secret, emphasis on dirty, is that we do not wash the comforters, right? You can do that, and you can make some money on that as an add-on.
It's so funny. We've had more and more owners ask us as we're going through the development, well, how often do y'all wash the comforters? It is uncanny how many have started asking that question.
Mhm. Well, the answer for me is every week, because we have an upgraded laundry service that we
Yeah.
can provide you, Mr. Homeowner, and the guests just love it. Looks like a hotel when they come in. We've talked about my Blue Standard bedding before, and I have probably 85% take up on it now with my houses. Those 15%, we're still making money laundering those comforters, so we got that covered too. How about the whole prep of the house, and we get people who buy the property and they're going to upgrade this and upgrade that. They need a professional to help them. Is there an opportunity there that you think?
We've seen success in that. So we've had, I think, even since COVID, a lot more individuals come into the industry that are really investors and may not have the time to bring the home up to complete standard, whether it's for renovations or additional appliances, or actually, even in some of our locations, we have a standard for design, and that goes outside of just the regular amenities or kitchen utensils that we require. Even for, like you say, your bedding, all of those should be add on. Again, these are services that we provide that are outside of just our management. And owners, a lot of times you can find, and again, you can grade who an owner is and what their intention is, but making sure that you can provide those services, it'll expedite when that property can become available. You'll have a little bit more control on some of that design. Even if it's a renovation, you can control some of the contractor's time, be able to proactively communicate, and have a revenue opportunity.
I don't have the bandwidth for that, but I do have a relationship with somebody who does know what they're doing on that, and that's another great contractor type relationship. And the last one you just alluded to is that whole renovation oversight. I
Mhm.
just caution, make sure you know the first rule of business that I got into this, when I got into this business, I was told by my property owner who was a general contractor. He said, Tim, be careful. Don't take on general contractor liability without general contractor compensation, because they're going to blame you when the paint color is wrong or the window isn't just what they wanted. But you can check on the job and use that as an add on. What are your thoughts there?
I think it's great. And we have software opportunities that we can take pictures, we can keep them in portals, we can send them out to our owners. So it's easy communication. And I think it's being the eyes and ears for them and really making an owner understand that you are a physical presence, but you aren't the one actually doing some of the work, right? And
Absolutely.
so while they're out of town or out of pocket, you can go and provide some of these services. But again, it is eyes and ears, and it is the opportunity to be a liaison.
Love that idea. I was just thinking about the property owner who was 4 states away building a new house and asked me to swing by and check on it because the contractor says it's coming along really nicely. I drive by, it's a vacant lot with pilings sitting on the ground. Like, I'm happy to check on it and send you pictures, but this house is not under roof. I'm not sure what you're being told, but it was an opportunity. And you're also the asset protector, so that's a great opportunity.
I want to add on to that too, because it goes back into my love affair for permitting and anything county and city ordinance related. But most of these all require permits as well. And so, being the eyes and ears and the local representative, your general contractor, whoever else it may be that's licensed needs to file for these permits. But you can also keep an eye on those, make sure that they're closed out, make sure that they're done correctly, provide updates for that. You would be shocked how many, if there's any contractors listening, but there are so many permits that are updated or put into the system, but never closed out, or follow up inspections with the city or county to close them out. And any of these could even be tree removals, right? And so providing that service as well, that is an add-on, but you need to figure out how you want to label that and market it to your owners.
Well, we've touched on a bunch here. I hope we've given you some ideas as we have moved along. Maybe you have an idea or two that we didn't mention. Hit us up on the website or on social. Tell us what you're doing out there that others might benefit from. But the golden rule for add-ons: for guests, you're selling time and convenience. For owners, you're selling asset protection and passive wealth. If your add-on doesn't check one of those boxes, skip it. That's my advice for this. Time always flies when we get together, and I hope people got some keys today.
I think you ended it on a really good mic drop.
Okay.
So, flight, underline, replay, memorize in your head, making sure that any of your add-ons fit those descriptions and qualifications.
Till next time. So long, everybody.
Bye, everyone.